I was part of the marketing team for a multi-million-dollar coaching and info product company, and what I saw destroys 90% of the guru advice you see online. So today I'm revealing what a business like this does differently from everyone else to dominate, and I'm gonna share stuff like what type of funnels and offers are working right now, how companies like this build scalable client acquisition machines, how much they pay their team, and how you can apply some of these strategies for your business too. Let's get right into it. The most important question is, how does a business like this acquire customers in a scalable way? What's the secret sauce basically? Well, I'm gonna show you what works and the math behind it. To go straight to the point, ads and low ticket funnels were by far the biggest client acquisition mechanism. I'm talking between 400K and 600K per month just from this mechanism alone. The backend was a 6.5K offer or a 10K offer that had some extras, which is pretty standard for this industry. But now let's talk about the funnel. The funnel was a $27 offer on the front end. They had to opt in, then you had a checkout page with order bumps, and then a book a call page. It sounds very simple, but I'm gonna show you in a second what made it so effective. Now, first of all, what makes a winning low ticket offer? It's actually very simple, not easy to build, but basically it's an offer that solves a small tangible problem, something they can consume quickly. So no, 5-hour courses or anything like that. Something that will give them immediate results. It's a lot better to give them something super small that they can achieve very quickly instead of making a big promise that will take a long time. And something that leaves them with a void. You solve this problem, it worked, but now you have this other problem. Obviously, you don't know how to do it. So, you need to buy the next thing or book a call. That's the formula. Okay, and what are the best formats for a low ticket offer? You can do challenges, for example. Pretty quarter challenges are great and, they work in any market. They simply need to do the same thing as you, follow the steps and get the result. It can be a masterclass, like a 1 or 2 hour masterclass going in depth on a topic. You can do templates. Anything they can take and implement is going to do great in almost any market. And I would say stay away from recurring, like memberships and stuff like that. I'm not saying you can't make it work. There's definitely people who are doing it, but 90% of the time it's not the right type of offer for like a low ticket front end product that you're going to run ads to. Okay, next thing, on the sales page they had an opt-in, so you have to opt in, put your email to go to the next step, to the checkout. So that's how you get their email, and you can hit them with stuff like an abandoned cart sequence. And by the way, if you want to know the easiest way to get someone who abandoned their cart to buy, it's you offer them a discount. If you think discount buyers are bad leads, then just get them to pay you, so you can at least offset some of the ad costs you had to spend to get them there in the first place, and then make an automation to take them out of the main list. On a checkout page, we have an order bump that can be another $19 or $27, and actually I'll have like 2 or 3 order bumps just to get the AOV up. An order bump has to be complementary, not eliminate the front end offer. So basically something that makes the result that the front end offers faster or easier. And the take rate on your order bump should be like 40%. For this company, it was even higher, but 40%, I think that's a really good number. And then instead of hitting them with upsells, downsells, like the majority of funnels in this industry do, we instead sent them to a page with a calendar and got them to book a clarity call. That's how we framed it. We made very clear on the sales page that this call was part of the product, so people actually wanted to book it. And booking rate on this was actually between 70 and 80%. On this call, we had a seller to chat with them for 15 minutes and make sure they got access to everything, motivate them to take some action. And then what they did is, try to book them for an actual sales call with a closer. And some of the people ended up booking a call because the seller did a good job. They had a good script. They understood the customer persona, and that's how they literally packed their calendar with sales calls very, very fast. So this stuff is pretty powerful. Now let me quickly explain the economics of this so you understand why these companies are doing this, and more or less what you can expect if you decide to start running low ticket ads. So imagine you're selling a 6.5K offer on the back end. Let's say your AOV on your low ticket funnel, the average amount of money a buyer spends when they enter in your funnel is like $35, and the cost of acquiring a customer is $70. So basically you have to spend $70 on ads to get a $35 purchase, which at first doesn't sound very good, but you need to do the math. If 80% of those people book a call with a seller, and then 20% of those people end up booking a sales call with an actual closer, and let's say your show up rate is like 70% because you hit them with a nice after they book a call, you hit them with a page where they have videos that answer objections, testimonials. You hit them with daily emails before they get on the call. You retarget them with content and stuff like that, stuff to warm up these leads. Well, if you do some bro math, that means that an actual sales call where they show up and they're qualified will cost you around $313. And I'm trying to be realistic here because there's people who get calls like way cheaper than that. I'm just assuming that you're in like a a very competitive market. Well, let's say your close rate is 20%. That means it costs you $1,565 to acquire a $6,500 client. That's a $4,935 profit and a 4x ROI. Now, obviously, you would have to take out the setters commissions, the closers commissions. This is obviously bro math because, it all depends on the industry. It depends on your CPM, how much your offer costs. But what I'm trying to say is that the numbers can be very scalable. Even if you get like a 3x or a 2x ROI, technically, you're still printing money out of thin air, which is amazing. All right, the next thing I want to show you is something that may seem super simple. Anybody can implement it, but it can actually be the difference between a 7-figure operation and a multiple 7-figure operation. So just so you understand, this company sold their standard high ticket offer, but then on the back end, they had another service and consulting business. They treated this business like a separate entity, but obviously the majority of clients came from the already existing customer base. And this offer was the perfect match for the type of clients they had and for the brand itself. It was like the next logical step. And this offer alone added 7 figures to the revenue. So it's not just about how many customers you can get, it's also about how much you can get them to spend with you, your LTV. Almost any company can add stuff on the back end. You can add software, you can add done for you services. You can even partner with someone who offers complimentary offer and get a nice cut from that. Depending on the industry, you can add supplements, physical products, you can add recurring memberships, you can add events, masterminds, affiliate, the list just goes on and on. You basically increase the lifetime value of a customer as much as possible by increasing the maximum amount of money they can spend with you. If they become a customer and a customer can spend like 30K in total with you, not just 6.5K, then that means that, that customer can be incredibly valuable for your business in the long run. It means you can spend more money to acquire that customer. And also everything you make in the back end is basically pure profit. So that's a big secret of massive companies in the info space. Having really good products so people actually want to keep buying from you, and having a catalog of offers on a back end so customers can keep purchasing and spending a lot of money with your business if they desire to. Now, how to build a winning ads machine that scales. For context, advertising was the oxygen of this business. We're pumping out like 100 plus ads per week. Actually, I think it was way more than that. And 99.9% of the ads were static ads. I know video is really powerful. Video ads last longer, they scale harder, but the problem with video is that it's very slow. You need to script it, you need to record it, you need to edit it, then you need to do corrections. With static, it's just one copywriter who understands some design can build everything and just launch them. And the majority of the ads were pretty simple. They were an image or some background with some text. I remember one ad that I wrote that did 50K in revenue with 4x ROAS. It was just a red background with some white text, literally. And listen, everyone was trying to crack the AI code with this. Some of us were doing Claude for the LLM, Obsidian for context, and VS Code for file management and writing. And we did all the designs ourselves. There were no graphic designers, which would have made the process a lot slower. And the focus was just on volume and testing as many ideas and angles as possible. It was definitely more of a machine gun strategy. I know not everyone agrees that this is the right way to do ads, but it worked. We fed AI a list of our best ads, the ones with the most spend, a list of viral organic posts, mainly carousels. So, if something went viral on social media, then it was a good opportunity to transform it into an ad or just use it as an angle for multiple ads. We had avatar profile, offer, VSL, sales page. So, Claude actually understands what you're selling. And then each one of us had their own rules, their styling documents. And I think AI can come with some pretty interesting ideas. But personally, my best ads were just ads that, just came to me like this in a random moment of the day, or ideas I stole from the ads library. And this is what I wanted to get. Spying on competitors, not just spying on competitors, but looking at what big brands and businesses that are massive, what are they doing with their ads, taking winning ads, transforming them and using them for your own offer. It's super underrated. A lot of times you're just trying to guess when there's structures out there that you can use them for your own stuff and they're going to work. So a tool, for example, like Atria that lets you spy on ads, on competitors, and just see what other people are doing are super, super valuable, especially looking at ads from other industries. There's also a Chrome extension called My Ads Finder. And when you activate it, it basically makes your Facebook feed just 100% ads. So that's pretty useful to find cool ads ideas as well. For the creatives, I personally use Figma because it's the one that I just like it. And the good part with Figma is if you just keep your designs in a file, you'll end up with dozens and dozens of templates that you can reuse, or you can transform them to make something else. And that can become very, very useful, especially when you're doing a lot of volume and when you're trying to test a lot of angles and a lot of ideas. Another thing that I think is very underrated is building a really good swipe file. Finding winning ads out there in the wild, taking the structure, the hooks, the bodies, the CTAs, having like pieces that you can reuse, or when you're a little bit dry, you can just go there for inspiration. Also, you could just paste this whole thing inside your AI context and it will write copy like a lot better. Having like a gigantic Notion database with really good ads, that alone I think can transform the way your team does ads. Okay, ads are great, but when you combine them with organic content, it's like nuclear fusion. Here's how this business approached organic and what you can learn from them. First of all, what really surprised me is, the founder wasn't like spending his time thinking about IG, Reels, or newsletter ideas, or YouTube content, or the carousels. The marketing team was doing 99% of the work. I know a lot of people think that if you outsource your content, if you get like help from a team, then it's not gonna sound like you, everyone is gonna notice, you're gonna lose the personal touch, your brand, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, I think there's a right way to do it and the wrong way to do it. I think a lot of that advice comes mainly from very creative people, if you can call it like that, more artistic people who care a lot about the brand and expressing themselves. But this business, I really liked it because they treated social media like an actual business. And the numbers, you could see it in the numbers, because around like 300K per month came from organic, which is crazy. If they only had that would be like a massive business already. In my opinion, people forget that personality and vibe is like the cherry on top. You think people follow you because of who you are, but actually they follow you because of what it can get out of you, right? Unless you're like an influencer or a celebrity or something like that. And the team was incredibly good at creating organic posts, especially carousels on IG. They were so good with carousels that his IG got to 1 million followers. And the content wasn't trying to be pretentious. It didn't try to sound smart or just say, random stuff, just say opinions. 90% of it was pure value, on topic, with CTAs. It was super actionable. It gave you a lot of frameworks, instructions, which kind of goes against what, the social media gurus tell you need to do. And the format was basically just like Twitter style posts, just text, you know what I mean? But it printed so hard. It actually changed the way I look at social media. And I think about all these creators who they're so worried about their brand. They spend so much time creating content. Even this YouTube video, it takes so much time to make a YouTube video. It's crazy. People who have all these ideas of what social media needs to be like. Then a lot of creators that either don't make any money or they just get burned out with the content world. And then you have a company like this. They were doing super simple text posts, super simple reels with just text, and they were printing 300K just from organic. For me, it's just crazy when I think about it. And I learned so much, and it made me like refocus my perspective on how social media needs to be done and what people actually value from you. And honestly, if you want to hire a team, it will probably cost you like a couple of months to train them. It needs to be a good team, because I know, organic is pretty hard, but I think it's so worth it because it can free you so much time. Even if they don't do everything, even if they can, give you like 50% input and help you with ideas and writing and stuff like that, that's already so much time that you gain back. But I know a lot of creators are like very protective of their brand because, it's very personal. You mix the brand with who you really are in a way. And I think it's very useful to just see it like a business. But anyway, that's just some food for thought. YouTube was mainly a way to warm people up, educate them more on the philosophy of their offer, of their brand, create trust, create sales assets. That's very important. Creating sales asset for the sales team. It was like more of a middle of the funnel type of thing. And if you're working with a team, what you can do is you can send weekly voice notes or even daily if you want of your ideas, thoughts, stuff that happened to you. So your team can take all of that and actually transform it into content. And then the newsletter, these guys were very serious about their newsletter, as you should be. If you take your info business seriously, you'll want to send like at least 3 emails every single week, preferably between 5 and 7, because you just make more money. And this was also done by the team, obviously. And speaking about a team, a lot of business owners are looking for A-level talent, but they aren't willing to pay A-level salaries. So I want to show you how this company structured their team internally, what they did to retain talent, and how much they paid their employees. Basically, they hired direct response marketers. This was a very direct response focused company. The majority of people who were working there, we knew how to write VSLs, how to write sales pages. We knew how to write emails, ads. We knew how to build funnels in GHL. We knew how to make automations. We understood design. We knew how to use AI, media buying. Like, we just knew a lot of stuff. I think the classic copywriter job where you can just write words in a Google Doc is, it's basically gone. And honestly, if I were a founder and I had to hire people, I would never hire someone who just know how to write copy, because they're a liability. You need to be full stack. The best in the world are full stack. Like, they're very good at one thing, but they also have a general understanding of how everything works. And trust me, when you have to put out fires, in a company like this, at this scale, they just happen all the time. And when this happens, you don't want a team who just, they just obey. You want a team that knows how to think strategically, make good decisions. I think that's the most valuable stuff you can be doing in the AI era. It's all about taste and understanding how to make strategic decisions. And a team like that, you need to pay them well, because otherwise you're not going to be able to retain them. The salary for someone like me was $5,000 plus commissions from the revenue drove. My best month at this company was $12,000, which is it's pretty good. And I honestly think base plus commission is the right way to motivate a marketer, because you want them to be involved in growing the company. You don't want them to be passive. A marketer is literally like a closer, because they're very, very near to the revenue. And commissions, they motivate a marketer to be excellent. Not just commission, you need base also, because if you're not going to offer base, then nobody's going to take you seriously. Another cool thing this company did, they did quarterly masterminds. So you travel to, for example, like a country in Asia to meet with the team, you mastermind with them. The company pays for the Airbnb, it's like a luxury Airbnb, and like cool experiences in the country. You enjoy time with the team, you strategize, which obviously creates team culture, and it's pretty cool. It's little things like this that make you feel like you're working in a premium company. Also, they invested heavily in education. For example, if you wanted to get access to a course or anything, you could get it no problem. The company would pay for it, and then all the team got access to it. And surprisingly, the vibe in general was really, really good. The job was obviously super stressful, but there was no toxic work environment or anything like that. Everyone was super hardworking, and we all had chill personalities. So all the things together make someone who's an A player want to stay with you. It's funny because a lot of businesses, they want the work from their employees, but their expectations don't match the environment and the money they're willing to pay. Hey, quick note, if you want help with your funnels, ads, emails, and you want to work with an experienced marketer who understands the game, there's a link in the description where you can schedule a call. It's 100% free, and you get a free audit. Back to the video. Let me give you an industry secret now. Direct response marketing is super competitive, and you need to understand, when you're writing copy, the hit rate is 20% for the majority of copywriters, because let's be honest, the majority of copywriters out there, they're just average. I like to consider myself pretty good at writing copy, but I'm certainly not a genius. 70-80% of the stuff you put out there probably will probably bomb, especially if you're a founder who's not trained on direct response. 10% will work, and between 1 and 10% have the chance of becoming actual home runs. The good part is that you only need very few home runs to create asymmetric gains. Nobody likes to admit this stuff, because everyone wants to sound like a genius. They want to seem a genius. But you need to remember, you're playing in a very, very competitive environment. You're literally competing against the best in the world. There are elite copywriters who charge 20 to 50K plus royalties to write you a funnel and some ads. and even their stuff bombs. Like, this is just a reality of business. So you need to understand that stuff not working straight out the gate is completely normal. If something doesn't work, then you're like, okay, this is like 1%, this is a test. And you keep digging, you keep testing, refining, trying new angles, you keep doing CRO. Each test is like another 1%. And you just keep going until you find a winner. I think this mindset will help you a lot, because you can get discouraged when you work really hard on a funnel, you launch it and you realize, nobody actually wants the offer, or the messaging is just wrong. And actually, that's why I'm a big believer in testing offers before launching them. It can save you weeks or like months of lost time. This approach of just let me test stuff and not be too emotionally attached to it is what makes big companies like this win. Because otherwise you're stressing, you're turning off ads way too early, you're making stupid decisions. You need to be able to put money on the burner. Listen, it's all right, because we're getting closer to what we want. And this is the stuff that I learned from them. Well, all right, I hope this was helpful. See you in the next video.